Oh man, we're live. We're live. We're like a real podcast now. We're even
Oh
on
yeah,
iTunes.
right. We are on iTunes. Welcome everybody to another Earth 2 discussion. This one is the Marvel Runaways discussion. I would do the full Earth 2 greeting, but I'm not feeling up to it today. So we're just gonna get into it. This episode is the 10th episode. It's the season finale, the first season finale. Yeah, season finale.
I didn't know this was the finale. Did you all know this was the finale when you started watching? I mean, I had
feel like Bree had
suspicions
told us
because it
like
seemed like a
6
two-parter.
times.
Yeah, but I often forget things Bree says.
He never listens.
So gosh, ignore that. Okay. Sick. Yeah, so where was I? Crap.
Runaways.
Episode of Runaway
podcast. Anyway, so yeah, episode 10 of the Runaways of Marvel's Runaways. Episode titled
Episode 10 should be known as the episode where we find out why Jonah can glow. Because that's been the theme of this entire podcast is Bree's question about Jonah's genitals. So,
but now his chest glows.
Exactly.
Right.
And not
you know what?
Whole...
I think it's feelings related. So, like, if he's horny, his crotch glows. But if he's angry or he's like disappointed, then his heart glows.
Oh,
makes sense.
Let's get into that in a minute. I think that's interesting. I want to get into that.
All right, so the episode is titled Hostile, and actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, I actually titled the episode "They Finally Run Away" because it took a whole season for the Runaways to actually run away. And
that's not why they're called Runaways. That's not why they're called Runaways. It has nothing to do with them running away.
Really? Okay. Well, you know what else I liked about this episode? Like the last episode, they actually referenced Runaways again. So if you were paying attention, I think the guy that we're talking to in the coffee shop, it's like, oh, they're Runaways. That's what they do. They
run away.
Run away. Get it? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so this episode opens where last episode ended with, the standoff and Jonah actually appears, and it looks like he's,
it's an epic
he
battle.
Fired off some shots. Yes. Epic or just
epic?
Just a battle.
I mean,
epic
on a low budget. Epic on a budget.
I mean, he did shoot the dinosaur. He shot the dinosaur.
The dinosaur thing was stupid.
Which part?
I got this. Let me shoot the tranquilizer, and the dinosaur's down for 4 seconds.
Yeah, that was weird. What kind of tranquilizer is that?
Like you're a scientist and your tranquilizer didn't work at all.
Were we supposed to think that when she pulled out the dart that everything was better? Because that's what it seemed like they were trying to convey.
That's exactly what we were supposed to think. And I was looking.
I don't think that's how tranquilizers work.
But I don't think that's how that works. Yeah, it's
everything was so fast paced in that, and everything was fast paced in that moment. We had the tranquilizer happen.
His powers, I don't understand because he's like blasting them, but they're not really getting hurt, are they? Like it didn't seem like anybody.
They're not because no. Actually, did he blast? I think he only blasted.
He blasted Molly.
He blasted Molly. Oh, I guess Molly potentially has like protective properties.
So yeah, that works. So she's pretty good at that. And then the standoff, and this episode kind of annoyed me with Lyrica. Nico, where we'll get into it, but so
eventually
Nico's
focus in order linear.
They have to get their big like TV moment where they all like line up versus each other, right?
Even that was lame.
Yep. So they can put that in like every trailer for the next season or whatever, and then Jonah's blasting them, and then Carolina
is like, I got this.
Carolina's got this. She unleashes, and they start like schwartzing each other. They start like shooting each other with their glowy powers.
And then the Runaways actually run away, and they actually fry stuff. So they send out an EMP blast and they fry stuff. And
I was so happy in this moment. I was so happy because I felt like finally there was no going back. I was
yes,
so
at
happy.
this moment, I felt like for the kids there was no going back.
This moment should have happened at like the opening of episode 3, but
except
still,
Nico, who is now I think in love with Carolina,
it's a
wants
little
to go back to
confusing.
save her. That's what I'm saying. I think, I'm not sure, because she wants to go back to save her. She runs up there for like 2 seconds and runs back, and it's like, hey, they're coming, and then they all run away. That'd be the thing for this one. They all run away, and now it's like, hey, look, guys, we're gone. So what's the next move? What are we doing next? We have to go back and get our friend. Is the theme for this one? Oh, it's Nico's theme because she's in love with Carolina, because she says to
so.
Chase, well, if it was you, we would have left.
The only thing with
Carolina,
the only thing with Nico's love for Carolina is, I mean, I think it's legit, but it's a little confusing because it seemed like her thing with Alex was legit. But I haven't also seen her conflicted about it very much. So that's kind of interesting. Like she seems like Alex, whatever, now, which is fine if that's the case.
Alex,
it seemed like they were setting up some emotions.
her.
Yeah, but didn't she like Alex too, or did I just totally misread that at the beginning?
I don't think she ever really. I don't think she ever really showed that she liked Alex in that way. Like I think she always thought he was cool, but she was doughy-eyed and they would sit and she would just kind of look kind of awkward when he would like her, and she was just like
I have a long history of misreading women, so that makes sense. I would have totally don't get that look, Bree.
Okay. Well, okay, so I think it looks like she's mixed to me. She's like, I'm not too sure if it's Carolina. I'm not too sure if it's Alex. I think that's what I'm reading. So I might be with Patrick and me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think the end result is the same. I thought there was going to be some confusion for her for a little bit, rather than her just immediately being like, Alex, whatever. It's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
we don't like Alex anyway.
They come up with this. I love how
she upgraded.
They always come up with these elaborate plans. Like the kids always come up with these plans to do things, and they come up with a plan to go save Carolina, and the plan actually worked, surprisingly, and worked well without a hitch. Well, you know what?
Well,
the plan was aided by. I mean, we'll find out. Yes,
Plus, we don't even know what they did, and it doesn't seem like they did much of anything. And as Bree said, it was a stupid plan.
Yeah. And then the parents actually get together. Well, the parents are starting to split. Pride is starting to split up because now Alex's parents are like, well, we have to find our son, and we're going to do what we need to do to find our son. Pride right now because, fuck Pride. And the rest of Pride, because of Gertz's parents have found out what they're really digging for. I think it's a life form of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a life form.
Well, Gert's parents and Carolina's mom find out at the same time.
Right.
At the same time. So now the parents come up with a plan to actually kill Jonah. Yeah, they come up with a plan to kill Jonah. I'm sorry. This is I'm kind of out of it. So they come up with a plan to kill Jonah. Jonah, in a weird scene with Alex's uncle dad, kind of like, what do you call him? Step half? No, just the uncle dad. Yeah, uncle dad.
Wait.
Stepdad. He wouldn't be your uncle because.
Yeah, I'm confused.
He's
just
he's a pseudo dad, I guess.
Yeah.
Or he's just a dad because she calls him dad. So
yeah, he's her father.
Real dad and fake dad. Yes.
Yeah, Jonah is her sparkly sperm donor.
Yes, and that was a weird scene because. But that was a weird scene because
that should be the real name of this episode.
And
sparkly sperm donor.
If you check it, he pulled his sleeve back, and you see his skin is starting to deform again.
That happened fast. Mm-hmm. How long has he been awake? Like a week, 2 weeks. Happened fast.
Maybe a
Maybe
week.
3 weeks.
I thought that was because he was using his powers, though.
Oh,
I'm thinking it's
because
powers
Bree's
related.
smarter
I
than
think
am.
it's
Just like Carolina had to put on that ugly mask thing because she finally used her shit.
Oh, I was wondering why she was wearing her mask. That's why we have Bree around. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
I thought she got just hurt from the explosion of
I thought she got like from the blaster.
their sparkle off.
Sparkle.
cool. Sparkle off.
It was
did
a
I miss
Twilight
anything?
moment for me.
I did miss something because let's see what I miss.
You missed a bunch with the kids, right? I don't know.
They ran away.
They run
I got all
away.
kids.
They basically run away, and they like
they
are
run away.
pushing
They disguise
the
themselves.
dinosaur in a shopping cart for laughs, and
And then they're like, get rid of the dinosaur.
Yeah, because
they
we
get
can't
rid of the dinosaur
all
for
that CGI in our
whatever
budget.
reason.
We got to do something about this CGI dinosaur because we can't afford it.
Yeah, they need to update, put some more money in the show so we can have more dinosaur. They get rid of the dinosaur. The dinosaur follows them. They get the dinosaur back, and they're about to actually run away, like legitimately run away, like get out of town. And then they find out that
You're missing like them rescuing Carolina. Like skipped to the end.
I did ask if I missed something.
Oh yeah, so
Chase
and is it Chase and Gert who disguises themselves?
Chase and
Molly and Chase.
Okay, they pretend to be runaways who are going into the church place while Alex and everybody else follows. Did Alex meet with his uncle before this or after this?
No. Alex stole a car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
Yeah. All right. And then basically they break in and save Carolina. And the best part is that Chase shows, because I didn't know Chase had his goggles, so I was happy that Chase had his goggles. That was my favorite part.
Yes, he has.
Chase had goggles.
They let him like see through things.
Did you watch
what the hell? Okay, I missed that part, and where
he
admission
time.
The second time I tried to rewatch, I fell asleep. So
I definitely watched this episode.
He looked through.
I like this
episode.
episode.
Was coming next, during the chase, and he sees like just the white glow, and he's like confused at why didn't he just explain
what is that?
He saw? And Carolina would be like, "Oh, you saw Jonah." Like you could have just explained that in like 2 seconds. Anyways, we actually find out that the reason the kids' plan worked, was because Carolina's mom helped them out. And I think whatever his name is, Vaughn.
Oh.
Remember, he did the whole speech like, "My name is Vaughn. Whose parents would name them Jan? And I come in here every day."
Yeah, Vaughn is actually dead. I think he's dead because he made the mistake of saying to Carolina's mother, "Hey, they told me Jonah's running things now, dummy."
True.
Well, so he's definitely.
So you think she killed him?
Back next season.
He's
definitely not coming back.
Can we just say one thing?
That look in her eyes.
Those two old ladies in the church.
Creepy.
They're creepy.
They're horrible.
They're creepy,
people.
man.
Yes.
They're not just horrible people. They're like the scariest people I've ever seen.
Yes. Ooh,
I'm afraid of those ladies.
I did miss one thing. So when the other parents in Pride actually were meeting and were coming up with the plan to kill Jonah, they accosted, or they talked to Carolina's mom and asked her, "Hey, so what's really going on? What really happened to?"
Confronted, yeah.
Thank you.
And she confesses, right? She like voluntarily confesses.
Yes, she confesses, and then she actually says one more thing as to who killed Amy.
Yep.
And so we find out.
And you guys thought it was Robert, and you were wrong because Robert is useless.
Robert made it more
I was rooting for Robert.
No,
I
Robert's
thought
useless.
this was this was his moment. he's just. I think okay. So the kids almost run away, and Alex meets his uncle and asks for something. Did he ask for money?
Yeah,
his uncle.
Well, we don't know what he asked for, but later he shows up with a gun and money. So
a big ass wad of cash.
Yeah. So we assume that's what it's for.
So
which who knows what he did for his uncle in return? I'm sure we'll find out.
He
later,
probably
but
snitched on his dad because he's dumb. What a
he dropped
dumb.
that line of the enemy of my enemy.
Why is that dumb? That was like the smartest part. They got cash money so they could actually get the fuck out.
Alex
I
is
agree.
dumb. He gave too. I think he gave
But
too
Mo
much
really hates the
for too
uncle.
little.
Mo hates the uncle. He does. He wishes the uncle didn't exist in the show. So
I hate
that's
both of them.
what matters. Is they got some cash, and they were going to
Yeah,
get out,
that
but
they
it didn't work out. And then they had to have that cool, like, epic runaway scene.
slow motion runaway,
Slow
right?
mo, like jumping over
Yeah.
trash cans. We are the Runaways.
So my question is, was it
That's the
Jonah
show.
that called the police and or that put the news story out
report.
about them?
I thought that was
Could've
Alex's
been. It
dad.
could have been. You think it was
was that the
Alex's
call that
dad?
Alex's dad
Yeah,
made?
that's why he had the phone in his hand in the last scene we see him in. He's like, we gotta do something first.
It
But-
could
Got it.
be. It could be misdirection though. It could be misdirection because again,
Who has
you
control of the
actually do
cops?
see-
One of the parents of Pride is like all connected with the cops. Is it Alex's dad?
No, it's
Well, all of
is it?
them.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought-
all of them have the cops in their pocket. But the way that news story made it seem was that Molly was an innocent person and that the other kids were
And
kind of suspects. So I don't know that
Oh.
Alex's dad would do that to his own son.
that
No,
makes
because-
I
sense.
think it's. You know what? I think it's Carolina's mother. I'm going to go with that final answer till we find out next season. I think it's Carolina's mother.
That's just a blind guess.
It was
That's what we're all doing. But I really think no, seriously, because I think Alex's dad with his phone in his hand is like misdirection. It's like, yeah, it's him. Blame him. But really,
I feel
think
like
it's-
he's
okay, but
gonna
they also
call
did it. I'm also saying that because they did it in the comics, and for once, it looks like the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other parents were like, "You blamed your son? How the fuck could you do that?" I was like, "I'm
Oh.
protecting my son." But that's
Mm.
mostly why.
Hmm.
Also,
That's a
I'm
good
confused
argument.
with Molly the innocent because she's the youngest.
Do we have?
Right.
Isn't there a point in this episode where we finally get some suspicions that there's a mole in the group?
in
No,
within the kids.
I thought there was something. Somebody drops.
I would assume Alex, but
No. But I mean, like, I thought that somebody got like a text message or something. I know that. Yeah. It happens because Jonah doesn't Jonah get a text message that's like everything's
Ready
going
whenever you are,
according to
something?
plan or something like that.
Yeah. He did.
And
he
so, and doesn't that seem like it's like I think the implication is supposed to be that Carolina like wanted them to rescue her like that.
did. Wow, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. The only other thing, I mean, again, the show does a lot with misdirection. The only other thing is, look who's here. The only other thing I think is, the only other thing I think is, again, the show does really well with misdirection. So I think it could have been maybe Carolina's dad, but that's not the Carolina's dad, not Sparkly's sperm donor.
Yeah.
So like,
All right. So can we talk about? Can we talk about powers?
Oh,
I want to ignore that guy. So
Don't come in here making noise.
oh, hi, people.
So what is so the question has constantly been like what's up with Jonah's glowing penis? But now it looks
You
like
get muted.
all of Jonah the Jonah can like focus his power to different parts of his body. That's how I took him with the glowing stuff and then like glowing hands and everything. Is he has like this internal power and then he can focus it in the different areas. And that's why I like went into full glow mode because that's like Super Saiyan Jonah, I'm assuming. And that Carolina doesn't know how to control her powers, so she just like goes in full mode. You know, like Superman holds a punch.
Yeah,
And he's like fighting just a normal dude.
But somehow
Supergirl
she
doesn't know how to hold a
managed
punch.
to concentrate her energy into her hand so that they could have that sparkle off during the parents kids standoff. Because like I don't that part was weird to me because it was like she took the bracelet off and she had this complete glow and then somehow it stopped, but the bracelet was still off and then she could like figure out how to harness that power and have it like just shoot towards him.
Yeah.
Wait, are we discussing the inhibitor?
We're discussing the battle and powers, like superpowers of Jonah and Carolina. And so
if we dial in
the other curious thing is, why is Carolina a rainbow and Jonah white? Is it because he's straight and she's gay? Or I mean, is that honestly the reason? Because that's really interesting.
I thought Jonah had more of a bluish hue to him, and Carolina had more of a pink thing, because like when the two beams were like shooting towards each other, like that's kind of what it looked like to me.
So you think it's gender based?
I think it's a gender-based glow.
Also, he's sick, so there's something going on with his powers, or something that has a backlash to it. So, or maybe he's extended his life somehow through unnatural
sacrifice.
Well, didn't he extend his life? That's what all the 15 runaways that they killed over the last 15 years was to give him energy.
More like, yeah. Because he looks the same as he did in that picture when Carolina's mom is young, right? So
he started flaking again, didn't he?
Very nasty.
Yeah, he started flaking on his arm. So Bree, explain your theory on him flaking on his arm.
Oh, because he used his powers like insanely much, and
yeah, like as
I don't
soon
know.
as he came through, he's been using his powers.
So the more he
used, the first thing he did, the first thing he did when he came back was the first thing he did when he came back was
but he didn't have a battle with
somebody. He used his powers.
So maybe there's an effect of using his powers that accelerates his degeneration.
That's Bree's theory. It's a pretty good one. Because also Carolina also has to have that mask thing on after she uses her powers. That's Bree's theory, by the way.
Question. When Carolina was putting on her clothes in the van, did it appear that she had...
What?
Did it?
You don't have to mute.
Like, what was that?
Sorry, that's Pluto.
Oh, okay.
Do you just automatically blame me?
Every time.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
It's always going to be the light-skinned dude. Every time.
I see.
Did it appear that she had some marks on her back, or like her lower back, or was I just seeing things that weren't there?
Did she say that again?
When Carolina was putting her clothes in the van, and when Nico came into the van to kind of like, have their little moment, we're back. Hey, did it look like she had some scarring on her back?
No, I didn't see that.
I thought it was just like Nico was checking her out.
That's I was more so focused on Nico perving out in the background. Like, hey, I know you're both girls. But
also, was she wearing the outfit from the comics?
Yes.
I believe so.
I think all of their Runaways outfits were their comics outfits, right? Pretty much.
No, except
all
for,
of their disguise.
Molly's was
Alex though. Alex doesn't have his shirt with the #1.
But didn't he start off with that though?
Yeah, he did.
The first episode he started off with that. So I think everybody's had some version of their comic book outfit, which is just street clothes at some point.
That's the best outfit. Ask Superboy.
Right?
Hey, I won't mock Superboy. If my superhero costume was just a t-shirt. I appreciate it.
So,
did y'all talk about Nico?
No,
we haven't.
First of all, why did you hate this episode, Anthony? It was the most Runaways-like episode.
I was gonna ask, what did everybody feel about this episode? So thank you, Patrick, for asking, directing it at Anthony first.
Well,
no, but it's cool.
I'll go last then. Y'all do your thing, and then I'll wait.
I'll go first then. I'll go first.
Okay,
so
the question is,
this episode was the best episode because it didn't have any flashbacks. Because flashbacks, and also it was the best episode because it focused more on the kids, and even when it focused on the parents, Jonah became the big bad. And so we had finally the villainous big bad that we've been looking for, that we expected the parents to be, right? It turns out the parents are still kind of useless, but at least they're not the villain really anymore. And I mean, if all the parents just died in the next episode, that would be fine. It was just the kids versus Jonah, because then I would get my Runaways action that I want. I mean, it sucks because part of Runaways is their whole thing of them trying to deal with the fact their parents are evil, which they've already screwed that up. So, and then the other thing is that it just had a better tempo, I felt like, than other episodes. Like, I don't know, the editing and production just seemed better. It's probably because they had a budget, a la Smallville, where they could put their budget into their first episode and their last episode. It just felt like they were able to do more. Like the dinosaur actually showed up a bit. It looked like they used physical effects for him whenever his head is just on. That didn't look like CGI.
There was a puppet on a stick there. There was a hit on a stick.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so excuse me, which I'll take a puppet on a stick over bad CGI, honestly. So
me too. I think they've done a really good job with the dinosaur, considering this is TV, especially how much dinosaurs, how Jurassic Park has ruined fake or off-brand dinosaur effects for us.
right.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job.
All right, who's next? Runaways is finally Runaways. That's why I liked it.
I think Bree should go next.
I was
What did you
neutral.
feel about this episode? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was completely neutral. Like, I think all the anger I had in earlier episodes just got canceled out. Because, like, I like this episode, but also at the end of the episode, it didn't feel like a season finale. Because I thought this should have happened, like, way earlier. I didn't really have many feelings.
Right. How about you, Keem?
I get to be the negative person.
Keem has notes.
This is great. Do I? With my trusty planner. This was not my favorite episode by far, and maybe it's because there were no flashbacks. But Patrick is a flashbackist. I just felt like a lot of this episode was so wasted. Like the highlight of the episode for me was when the parents find out like all of the shit that's been happening behind the scenes. Like they find out that like they thought Nico's mom was the one that killed Molly's parents, and then they find out that it wasn't her at all. It was Chase's mom. And then they also find out who kills Amy.
Wait, it wasn't Chase's mom.
It wasn't
Caroline's.
It was Carolina's mom.
Carolina's mom? Okay.
Carolina's. I was going to call her Caroline.
Yeah.
Chase's mom does jack shit. Sorry.
What threw me off
literally, she is literally the worst evil villain mastermind circles person there because she does nothing.
So
she's there by marriage.
Or...
Yeah, she's. I got it, Mo. Don't worry. Yeah. So
at some point,
I think what threw me off was when they said Carolina's mom's name and then they panned in on Chase's mom's face, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah. So that was like the biggest thing to me, but I felt like and I apologize because last time we talked, I kept calling him a T-Rex, but the raptor, like
they're similar.
That was,
and that's not really
it's like tiny raptor or tiny T-Rex, mini T-Rex, but it was just such a waste because it's just like it runs out and you're like, all right, we're about to see like a real showdown here, and then it gets hit with a dart gun and passes out, and you're like, okay, that there was no need for this. I mean, I guess that was their way of showing that Gert had her own special little power, which was the connection with the raptor, who she gave the dumbest pet name ever.
But if she had not given it that name, then there would have been outrage if she had not given.
I'd have raged.
See, Anthony would have raged.
You comic book purists. So I mean, I get it, but I was just like, old lace, okay. Like
her weakness is budget.
What?
Her weakness is budget. It's like we can't animate this. Like dark, trash can, leave the mountains.
Yeah, like that was just, it was, the whole thing just felt like a big cock tease to me. Like I was expecting something huge to come. Okay, that was just horrible wording. I'm sorry, y'all.
Wow, you hey, look.
I heard it.
That's the kind of podcast we run on Earth 2. That's the kind of podcast we run on Earth 2.
Keep going.
Go for it.
Keem.
I heard it after I said it.
Take all of it. I'm sorry.
Nope. Pause.
I'm so sorry.
But the standoff between Carolina and Jonah, I was like, what in the twilight is this? They're just standing there all glitterily and sparkly, and like then they just shoot light at each other. Okay. Yeah, it just, and then, just the whole build up. I've been like waiting all of these episodes, like, okay, it seems like it's trying to come together. Something really great is going to happen at the end, and I'm going to be super hyped, and I'm going to be ready for season 2. And now I'm just like, I mean, they don't have to rush with season 2. There are other things I could watch. Like Do
you think part of that is that it doesn't really end on a cliffhanger?
Yes. And I kind of need my show. Like, it pisses me off when shows end on a cliffhanger, but also it makes me excited for the next season because I need to see where this goes. Like, I've watched shows that I actually hated. Like, mid-season, I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. But then there was that cliffhanger ending where I was like, damn it. I'll watch next season, at least the first episode, to see exactly what happens. Like, yeah, I am missing the season premiere of The Magicians right now to talk about this. And that pisses me off because the show wasn't worth it.
Wow.
I think I feel the exact same way that you just said. Because like I don't care how long I have to wait for this next season, because even that like last season that last episode, nothing. I don't need to know anymore. They ran away. That's all I got. That's all I need.
Yeah. Right. And Jonah still didn't even seem like a true, I mean, he's a dick, but
that's it.
There is a lack of urgency. Like the episode before this, they go into how like all of California is going to blow up, but they don't even like mention that in this episode.
They do though. They at the end of the end of the thing, they focus in on the newspaper. That says earthquakes. Can they come to LA?
I guess that's just not enough. I also miss. I totally miss.
I just like all that. It's too much of a heroes thing. Where every season, the city or the world has to be in peril to save it. It doesn't always have to be that.
I mean, I agree with that, but it does seem like the lack of a cliffhanger might make it so there's less. It doesn't have to be about the end of the world for there to be a cliffhanger. Also,
right.
What Bree? What was your thoughts on the whole episode besides being mad?
You mean Mo?
No, Bree.
Okay.
I already went.
Oh, Mo?
Said her.
Yeah.
Oh.
You never listen.
It's okay. I mean, I don't have to go.
I don't listen to Bree. I don't hear what she says.
It's clear at this point that you don't listen to Bree. Well, I am with Bree and Keem. It wasn't spectacular. They finally ran away. So so they ran away. And I'm like, because it took episodes to run away. That is the dumbest setup ever. Like, and then that cool slow motion run at the end was just kind of lame if in retrospect, because it's like, okay, well so we waited for this whole season, and this is your payoff. It's a cool.
That's actually the only thing I liked about this episode.
I called it. I said they're not even going to run away till the end of the season, and guess what?
You did call it, but the episode wasn't spectacular. Like, I had so much hopes for this season, for the show, and it felt like I got let down by my friends. It's like I really feel let down by this episode, and I think we'll do one more episode to talk about the season as a whole. But if we're just going to concentrate on this episode, it wasn't spectacular.
That was so sad.
Jonah's real motivations, we don't know what they are. We just know that he wants Victor back. And how is he going to bring Victor back? We don't know how he's going to do that. It's just so many things. I mean, they're just left unanswered. So we do actually find out what's going on with the dig and the dig site and all that good stuff. But all in all, like, I really wish this episode would have happened sooner, so it would have got more action later. Also, one big problem was this dinosaur problem. I guess the thing about you having this dinosaur, yes, we know the dinosaur does exist. Can you give it to us? Can you show it to us more than just, hey, we're in the woods? Like, you are in the woods. You should have that dinosaur running up and down, like doing pulling tricks, rolling over.
Dude, as Anthony
dead.
said, the greatest weakness that dinosaur has is budget.
I mean,
that is
the
literally
beginning of the episode. You had the dinosaur.
Jonah's going to defeat the dinosaur by battling them long enough that they run out of budget.
How do we kill him? Just wait.
Yes, just wait, and then
Hulu money will run out
as long as possible.
So yeah, I mean, there's the episode was good, but it wasn't great. It wasn't spectacular. It was just good. And I feel like this episode should have been sooner, maybe the 5th episode.
You think?
You could have.
I'm very biased.
Or
if you cut out all those flashbacks.
The flashbacks were necessary. Maybe if they made it a 12-episode series, that would have been more helpful. Like, I feel towards the end of the season, like, you can't even call it a battle between the kids and the parents. Like, I need to see all-out warfare, like, between...
The parents were useless. I mean, at best, Nico's mom could do something. That was it.
Kinda.
And then all the other parents were useless. You know the best thing about, episode... The best thing about that fight scene or whatever was the standoff. Was them just forming lines and
them lining up.
Facing each other off was the best part of it. Like
because
it looked like something great was about to happen, and then we got that, and I'm like,
but
a bunch of people
what did you expect to happen? We already knew that the parents sucked.
But you still just kind of expected to see more. Like, to me, that, well, in my head, what I imagined this to be like is you've been dating a guy for like years and he tells you he's got a big surprise for you and you're like, I'm about to get my engagement ring.
Oh.
And then... and then you get to the surprise and he whips out a pair of earrings.
He whips out. Like, I'm a mute.
Yeah, mute yourself.
No, go on.
So you get to the surprise and he whips out a pair of earrings and you're like, I've waited for what, 10 fucking years for this pair of earrings. This isn't a decent payoff. Like, and that's what that whole thing felt like to me. Like, they got knocked down and then they get back up and they did this stupid limp hobble walk thing back to like form the line again. And I'm like, okay, it's about to happen now. And nothing. So yeah, it's just.
When is Alex gonna die? Seriously.
What do you want him to die?
He's just.
Does he die in the comics?
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah. So that's the issue
okay.
I have.
All right, it's Anthony's turn to talk for about 30 minutes about what he thought about this episode.
I think the fuck not.
All right. So I was giving Runaways a lot of leeway, right? It's the first season. They're still finding their legs, but they did the exact same thing that Preacher kind of did, where they didn't actually follow the story of what made it good. They just kind of stayed in one place and tried to maintain the status quo while rushing some storylines without the context of them. So one of the things is that you guys have mentioned is Alex, right? We all read the series, I guess.
Everybody but Keem, but Keem is not.
Okay, so yeah, to answer your question, Alex does die in the series, and there's a very big plot twist of how he dies, right? Because Runaway is a very simple formula that was really refreshing in a way when it first came out. These kids discovered that their parents were the West Coast superhero Legion of Doom type of thing, right? So Alex's parents was like Kingpin, then you had these sorcerers, you had these mutants, you had like aliens, you had all this stuff, and they were a literally league of evil that ran the West Coast. That's the feeling we got when we first read it. Am I right on that? Is that what we
got? Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right. So they didn't give you a lot of backstory. You just knew that these were loving parents, and then all of a sudden these kids found out their parents were murderers and drug dealers and controlled all the crime, and they ran. They literally just ran, and it was them on the run with other heroes trying to capture them or get them back to their parents, while their parents are trying to find them, manipulate them. And you had this story that came out of necessity, where this one wanted to show us 91210 and superimpose that onto this Runaway story, and you kept waiting for it to get started. So I didn't know that this was the last episode of the season. I thought this was a mid-season break, and we were coming back, and we were gonna finally get started. So at the end, I was like, literally like, all right, good. Second half of the season, we gonna finally get in this comic. And the keeper's like, no, Anthony, no, sit down. They're not gonna whip anything big for you. They're not gonna throw it down. Whatever you're just using, they're not gonna do any of that stuff. That was a waste. You had a whole episode. I mean, a whole season that could have been one episode.
See, I kind of disagree that it was 90210 because I think the reason it was a waste, Anthony, is because so much of the show centered around the parents and not around the kids.
See, I disagree. So this is what I think about the Flash. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but like that is maybe not 90210, but it was very OC.
Yeah,
where the parents were characters, which is what they wanted to do, and like the same showrunners.
So part of the mystery of Runaways was also we didn't know anything about the parents. Like the parents weren't Kingpin or Magneto, we had characters we knew. They were loving parents, and then you found out they were secret villains.
That is because Marvel does not care about the West Coast.
They do not. Every West Coast team except for Runaways has failed miserably. So, as Iceman and Ghost Rider. But the what you had is the parents is I was always curious in Runaways. What are the parents like? How did they start this stuff? What's going on? So the flashback started off really great. Then you made them lackeys. You made all the parents henchmen, where they had no real power. They had no real influence. They had a scapegoat in the form of Jonah, right? So you've taken away the agency. You've actually taken away the whole plot, the whole reason for the plot. You also take away. So what happens in the comics, Keem, is that somewhere down the line, you'd realize there's a traitor in the group who's telling the parents where they're at and telling their moves. Alex is the leader that everybody turns to. Even Chase eventually bows, like understands that.
But Anthony, don't you think they kind of foreshadow a little bit of that traitor because Jonah gets that text in this episode?
So they foreshadow it, but they do it too much. Where before it could have just been Alex and his parents had a really good relationship in the beginning of the show. They were probably the only really healthy relationship besides Molly, and now they've hinted to it so much that Alex is gonna go to his parents, and they've given his parents an out of saying we got to find Alex, and he hears them and stuff like that. That there's not going to be a surprise. If I'm watching this show and even if I don't know the comics, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, of course it's Alex. And
do you think that that's just bait and switch though? Do you think that I think it won't be Alex?
They could switch it, but they've ruined one of the things that made the original storyline great. And they've stripped down so much of the original storyline that this is no longer Runaways. I don't know what this is, but it's not the Runaways storyline that actually made it a good story.
So Anthony,
also in the
what did you think about episode 10?
So, all right. So that's one of the things I was saying. There was nothing there.
I'm not being a dick. I just know they're gonna come back.
Poor
and talk
Anthony.
About the
He's had this all.
Jonah, dude.
He just had it all bottled up because he wasn't on the previous episode.
I know.
So he's like, I gotta get it out. I gotta get it
let
out.
It all out. Ant's got the little glowy crotch right now. And
right.
You have to hold that light a little bit longer.
I was trying to whip it out,
dude.
and then he was like, no.
What we'll do is we'll cut out that whole part, interject it into the other episodes like he was always there.
Yeah. So, all right. So this episode, again, that whole, everything I was talking about just meant that this episode could have really been 5 minutes. And it was 5 minutes stretched out into a whole episode that nothing.
Don't you feel like this episode was the only episode that kind of hit the things that you were talking about that you didn't like about the show, though? It was about the kids. They were running away. The parents actually seemed somewhat menacing, or at least have some sort of agency. Jonah was like kind of scary. There's a sense that there might be a traitor. Alex is getting money. The dinosaur actually shows up.
So the parents aren't scary.
They did a shitty job with all of that.
Yeah, none of that stuff you just mentioned actually worked for me. The parents are no longer scary. I no longer care about the flashbacks. The flashbacks are supposed to give me some perspective, but also keep them villains. And they gave them an out. So no, I don't.
They were not villains from the beginning. Almost from like the second episode. The second episode is almost the premise of the second episode is they're not really villains.
Carolinas.
Yeah, a little bit, but really, like the premise of the second episode is to say these aren't the actual just bad guys you think they are.
Right, then even Nico's mom, they neutered her too, and so it's like It's no longer the premise of Runaways is no longer there. Really, just defeat Jonah, and all this can go back to normal. And the other thing I don't like, and I'm not going to say this right, so y'all might have to cut this. Nico, Alex, and Carolina, right? Yeah. Oh, we're live. All right. Well, y'all can't cut this. So I feel like again, you've warped a relationship. Warped a relationship that was pretty set for what happens in the comics to go forward. Nico didn't have to reciprocate her feelings for Caroline. That doesn't happen in the comic book, as far as I know. When I was reading the series, the original run. And I feel they just did that because they wanted the show to hot girls kiss or have that dynamic. Because not even really a love triangle. She almost despises Alex at this point. And then it switches back before. She's not a likable character. Nico's character is not likable. She's kind of more of a cock tease kind of thing for everybody involved in that.
Did you have something to say to that, Bree?
I like
Bree
Nico.
is offended.
I'm offended.
Go on.
What do you like about her?
Well, that's why I was like, oh, wait. But, okay, but to be fair, I'm kind of neutral on every character in the show so far, except for Molly.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Given a run to build these characters, give them some depth. Alex has gotten some character development. Chase got some tragic family stuff, but there's no tension, there's no build up.
They had 10 episodes to drag out, and then they did nothing with the 10 episodes to drag anything. They dragged it out so they can run away at the end of the season, but during those 10 episodes, nothing happened until the last two.
I think that's because they focus so much on the parents and not on the kids. If they focus more on the kids.
No, because they even ruined the tension.
I don't hate the parents. You can build depth into a character. Think about Darth Vader, all right, in Star Wars. He actually is only on the screen in the first Star Wars for like 7 or 8 minutes in the whole movie. And yet you build depth about that character, right? Like, there are ways to build depth without giving time, but the kids needed more time on the show. That's my opinion. And the show started to feel like it was about the parents, not about the kids, especially because the parents are the more morally gray character. So it's only natural that you're going to have to spend more time to try and explain their situation because their situation is the more complicated situation. But I'd rather the show be about the kids.
But I also feel
Patrick, you don't like the parents because of all their flashbacks. That's what it is.
But they rush the kid's storyline, and so you don't have the tension. You don't have the Lois and Clark tension with Gert and Chase or Nico and Michael. They rushed all these kids' progression that should have been happening on the road. This should have been a road trip, huh?
You said Nico and Michael.
Nico and
Anthony's just making up characters.
Carolina or whatever. Like you rushed all their attention and character development. It shouldn't happen on a road trip. This should have been a road trip show, but this show was so in love with LA that we got a commercial every time they broke. LA was a wonderful mystical land. I've been to LA. If you got money, it's great. You're not some poor kid picking up clothes at a thrift shop. Like, no. But they're in love with LA, and that's what they wanted to show us, and that's what we got instead of a road trip show. A road trip show with kids on the road, processing their feelings, finding connections, having freedom, and going from that. And so we missed that opportunity. And now they're showing them Runaway. This ending of this show should have happened the second or third episode of this series. And it should have been, and here we go.
So, you said all that to say this. You didn't feel really great about episode 10.
I felt like Keem. I didn't get no good dick out of this. So it was
What?
I don't think I said that, but
in your analogy,
equally as disappointing. Yeah.
No, I think she meant rain.
They talked a mighty good game about LA, where they live at, what they drive, got home, and they ain't do nothing. They fell asleep.
And I was talking about engagement. I wasn't talking about sex.
Oh,
but...
I thought you were trying to.
Yeah,
that's a common misconception for anime.
Yeah, I mean, my bad.
Liv spent a hell of a lot of money for this show this season.
Yeah,
and
yes. Hey,
I
Liv,
was so happy when
Earth 2 is looking for sponsors.
Right.
Earth 2 sponsored by.
I mean, if you're going to sponsor somebody, this is the way to go because we are way cooler than the show Runaways.
No,
so
yeah, we'd make better villains for sure.
Hell, if you put me in a van with y'all, we're gonna have some tension. It's gonna be hard. I was so happy when I found when they had that van. I was like, yes, they got the Runaways van. We're gonna get no. You gonna get on a train.
Don't you think they're kind of setting that all up for this? It's almost like they're really launching the show though in the second season.
Wait, what did they do with the van?
So it was in the woods, right?
Oh yeah, they just ran away.
Yeah, why didn't they take the van instead of a bus ticket?
They were going to jump on a train somewhere for some odd reason. I don't know. Or
are they going to take a train back to the van? That was very scary, Patrick. I just want to let you know that. Like,
I don't know.
Moment when I saw your door swing open, I was about to be like, Patrick, behind you. It's.
So
I mean, man, the live moments are epic on the show.
To me, this was a little bit above. At the end of the day, this was a little bit above Iron Fist. As far as Marvel shows.
Wow, yeah, I actually think Iron Fist is quite a bit better.
Because you're wrong.
Wow. No, Iron Fist is
wow. They're neck and neck.
That's a different conversation,
but again, I have no urgency to see season 2. Like, there's nothing about this that makes me go, oh, I want to see what these kids do next.
Even though season 2 is going to probably be more of the show that you're asking for?
I think Patrick is more excited for season 2 than everyone on this cast.
Here's what I'll say. I will definitely give season 2 an episode. And if it gives me the show that I'm hoping that I wanted to see in episode 2 of this show rather than a stupid flashback, then maybe we'll start talking. But like
that's what I think is going to happen. All right, so are we dropping theories for season 2 at this point? Is that what we're?
And how do you frame these kids for murder? Like, at what point do these kids have anything to do with the person that disappeared? Like,
Carolina texted.
Oh yes,
Alex is black.
Oh, that's true. It is LA, and Alex is black. Got you. All right, continue.
Wow. But see, that's another part that, like with current, if you're socially aware or whatever. It just would not make sense for Alex's parents to call the police on him. Like,
not at all.
No,
as a black parent, you'd be like, "There's no way I'm getting
about that." That's amazing.
What'd you say?
No. But like to Bree's point, what she said is he did it in the comics, and if you're going to follow the comics, that is what would happen. But
they're not following the comics though
at all. So it's kind of like if you lifted a part of a story to just implant in your show, but you don't have the context to it, it doesn't make any sense. So none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense at all. And they gave Nico a sister just to kill her, have Jonah kill her, so he could be the.
I hate the addition of her. What is the point?
There is no point. Like, none of it has a point. And that's what this whole show is. And the whole point of Runaways, they erased that tension. So it was a coming of age comic. It was refreshing to see these kids deal with their parents, and these parents with this cabal. You didn't really know what they were up to, and they've ruined everything about it that makes this show interesting. And they've kind of ruined anything about the characters that don't have superpowers. They made them kind of uninteresting too.
All right. So
Amy, I just had the question. Amy is not in the comics. Amy is made up.
So why is it, Bree, that you don't like her addition?
Because she serves no purpose. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, like I thought they were gonna make it so that because I'm pretty sure in the comics, Alex knows about the sacrifices before the others know, and he deliberately leads them to the sacrifice to show them, and he's been loyal the entire time. And I thought they were gonna do it where Amy and Alex saw the video together, but the parents didn't know about Alex seeing the video. So I thought they were gonna do something with that, but since they didn't do that, it was just. Let me kill this daughter to make the parents seem lovable.
The only thing I forgave, go ahead, Keem. Sorry.
I was thinking that maybe the purpose of putting Amy there was to show the true villainy of Jonah. Even though you don't find that out until the last episode. But now, because the whole time I'm like, why the fuck are they so scared of this guy? Because he's not doing anything that's intimidating. But if you know... Okay, he just went into somebody's house and straight murked their daughter.
Or made them take pills?
Yeah, like that That makes him
but
seem
see, it also doesn't
evil.
make any sense because why
But
didn't Nico's
here's
mom call the police if her daughter just committed suicide, took pills? You called an ambulance to have them pump your stomach, or you used the staff of one to purge your system or bring her back. Which they haven't even done the staff of one right. They haven't done the staff of one right in this whole.
it's super
series
techy in
thing.
this.
Yeah, just say it's magic. We have Doctor Strange now. You can say it's magic. You don't have to do this science, advanced science is magic. No, you don't have to do that anymore. It's a magic staff.
So-
it showed up in Doctor Strange movie. It's here
Would I-
now for some reason.
Would I be right if I said that if you were the parents from the comic book Runaways, this is the TV show you would make?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Because it absolves them pretty much. Oh, we thought we were saving the planet, and anything shady we did was to save the planet.
Man.
I was okay with Molly's parents, the Molly's adoptive parents, being the goody scientists. I think even the comic book, you got to feel that they weren't really evil. They were just kind of just doing their mad scientist thing. It had no point. And I thought that Nico's sister Amy was going to have something with Alex, and then Alex was going to say that I was dating your older sister, and I'm kind of transferred to you, and that was going to be some of the tension or something like that. But they've ruined that either. Like, there's a part after Alex dies.
They were best friends.
Yeah, there's a part after Alex dies in the comic books, like, and I think Nico's becomes the leader, and maybe like a couple years after Alex has been gone, one of them says, "Hey, somebody just died. Can you bring them back?" It's like, I can't. I tried that spell already. She's like, "You tried to bring somebody back already?" She's like, "Yeah. And you can do the staff, the spell once." He's like, "Who did you try to do?" And she's like, "Alex." And they all looked at her like, "You were still trying to bring Alex back after what he did?" And you're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, I love them," kind of thing. And I can't see that happening in this series. There's no.
Oh, no.
There's
not
nothing
happening.
there. I don't feel anybody.
What I'm starting to think.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
I just
What I'm
don't-
starting to think is they're setting up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are you sure? I don't.
What I'm starting. Second, I'm playing.
Like,
God, just go ahead, bro. Just go. Just go. I don't care anymore.
That hurt your
You
feelings. I'm
you
really
give
sorry.
up
Go
so
ahead.
easily, Aunt.
I got no energy for this. No. So I just don't feel. I don't care about these characters. I don't care about the relationships. They rushed it. The unrequited love that Gert is supposed to have for Chase, even when she dies and she tells Chase finally that she loves him, like there's no agency in any of this for me anymore.
What I was
You
going to say
don't
is,
think it could redeem itself by the beginning of the next season?
holy crap, let Mo talk.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's
you
not
asking
fine,
me?
Mo.
Are you asking me?
Okay.
I don't care. There's so much other stuff to watch. I don't need to see a commercial about LA. I don't need to tune in to watch a commercial about LA anymore. And I was really optimistic about this show up until the last episode. Maybe I'm just hurt because I thought this was the start of the second half of the season, and they crushed me a little bit. And I was like, yeah, they're finally running. They're finally Runaways. Yes. And I was like, oh, Runaways in this show means about the missing kids in the temple thingy. Okay.
Wait, so are you saying that you loved this show before this episode and before you knew that this was the end of the season? Because I was so ready to tell you how wrong you were.
I was ready to give it a chance. If this was the first part of if this was like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know how bad Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was when the first part of their first season aired? And if you give it Showtime to build, if it's a 22 episode season, yeah, go into it. Give me the rough start of the 10 episodes and let me go. Deep Space Nine had a crappy first season. Babylon 5 had a crappy first season. Star Trek: The Next Generation had a crappy first season. Game of Thrones didn't show you a lot and dragged off a season. It was still good, but it didn't show you a lot. So if this was the first half of the season, yeah, I'd have been good to see the second half of the season. But since this is it, and I'm supposed to wait a year to come back to them running down an alleyway when these kids are going to look 2 years older, like I don't.
Bree, go ahead and just tell Anthony why he's wrong, anyways.
Well, I was mad that he liked the parents, and like I had a whole rant planned. But if you don't like him anymore, I'm good.
I just want to hear the rant. I just want to hear the rant.
You know what?
But what did Mo have to say, Mo?
Oh, Mo was talking.
Oh man, I think I forgot. But let's try something.
Mission accomplished.
So, Anthony, maybe to your point, I think maybe you're in, with the day and age we're in, I think they're trying to switch the storylines around. Carolina might be the one who they're setting up to be the love interest for Nico, and she might be the one to expire. Instead of Alex. I don't know why they would do that, but it also seems very bait and switch. I hate this show for this reason. Everything they've done so far is, it's like, we're gonna do, they show you one thing and then they twist it around, and it's such a dumb twist, and so I don't really know how to follow the show anymore. So I'm just really confused at most of everything that's happening on the show. I think the other thing I was gonna say, I actually did forget the other thing I was gonna say. So somebody should quickly say something.
So the one thing about having missing that storyline and giving her the storyline with Nico is there's a really great part in the comic for the LBGT community where a Skrull comes down and joins their group. And she's like, no, I'm not into boys. He's like, oh, that's not a problem. It turns into a girl. And you're like, oh, yeah, because he's a shapeshifter. Doesn't mean anything. Instead of just giving this storyline to Nico for no reason.
Gender fluid.
Yeah, which I love because it shows the fluidity of sexuality, gender, in a realm where you can change your physical being.
Also, if you kill the rainbow gay, which she literally is,
yes,
I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be mad. Almost like every character who's LGBT dies or has a really shitty ending. And so if you make her the evil one,
Discovery.
I'm black. Have you watched Walking Dead? So I don't have.
Don't get attached to any of the black characters.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Wow.
I mean, I also don't want Alex to die either, though. Like, can you kill Sheep?
I actually really want Alex to die. But anyways,
I like Alex.
Keem, you were gonna say? No, I'm over him.
Hey Mo, you sound like you might be trying to wrap it up. So before you do that, I just wanted to respond to something that Ant said. So Ant, you said the whole thing felt rushed, which is interesting because to me, so to you it felt rushed because they were rushing a whole bunch of big storylines and
the kids'
relationships.
The kids' characters felt rushed.
Yeah,
because they were barely on screen.
Right.
Yeah, so you felt like that was rushed. But to me, the whole thing felt entirely too slow because they dragged it out the whole season and then you didn't even get your big payoff. So I think that might be a good reason why everybody would be pissed off at this show is because it was rushed and then it wasn't at the same time. Like, you took too long on a lot of stuff that probably really didn't matter. And then the stuff that should have been spread out and built up naturally, like, you just threw it the fuck out there. Like, just take
Smallville season 6.
All right, so final thoughts.
I didn't get past season 4, so yeah, sure, Patrick.
Final thoughts. Runaways episode 10.
Hey Mo, I have one more question I want to ask before we do final thoughts real quick for everybody else. So it feels like there's some kind of stereotypes thrown out in the show. Like, do you guys agree? Like, it kind of feels like the black family is like kind of the thuggish family in the streets.
Who don't know how to play.
Nico is like comes from like the overbearing parents, scholarly parent. I don't know. I mean, I just want to start a conversation about that.
In this series, Alex's father is the worst actor in this series. I'm expecting him to have a British.
From The Wire.
Worst actor in this series. Have you watched The Wire? The Wire has some really good acting, and then has some people just playing their realistic characters from the streets. This guy does not fit any of those things. And his Luke Cage afro in prison. I don't know why they felt the need to do that. I don't know.
Because they don't have clippers in prison, Ant.
But
that's why you can't go.
It looks so fake. Oh no, I can't go to prison for many reasons, Keem. For many reasons.
Wow, that was a noise in the background.
It's because he's so pretty.
This is true.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was talking about anymore, but you've complimented me, so I'm gonna look this way.
All right, so you are right. Especially, I think I mentioned in an episode, was it episode 8, Tsunami, when he walked in with the gun, like, yeah, I got a gun to this. I'm like, really? And then they made sure his storyline, they made sure his storyline was so gangster and was so like, and every time like you saw him and his friend play out, it was always hip hop at the back of it. So it was very, and Nico's storyline at one point was, hey, let's if you had studied. You remember that one line her mom said?
Oh yeah, if you had studied for 2 more lessons, you know how to use this staff, but you didn't. Bad Asian.
Yeah,
it's the staff of one.
Yeah,
So
there's a
hurt.
lot of stereotypes. I noticed that. So you already know how I feel about that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's it for me.
I think the answer to your question, Patrick, is yes.
That's a shame because I just feel like so much of Runaways was about breaking down some of that. So to have the show then uphold it instead it's a real loss.
I think that they thought. I think that they thought whoever was casting it. I think they thought, oh, get a big bald black guy, and that's gangster. Get you know what I mean? Make this kid rainbow bright. Oh, that's queer. Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh, make I don't know.
No.
I don't think they. I didn't get a flavor for these different cultures that the commercials told me they had every episode. I didn't get that in
It's
this.
very diverse. You can find yourself in the city.
Yeah. No, I don't want to go to LA
Yeah, I
anymore.
think by diverse
I'm
they just
sorry,
meant
that-
we have someone from each, well not each, but we have various ethnicities here, and
I think
like
they got a tax credit for filming there. That's what I think. They got some kind of incentive.
yeah, and then they were like, look guys, we're hip, we're with it, we know about today's struggles, we've got the LGBT struggle going on here.
Hey, Molly was a little
Progression,
white girl.
and then
Now
that's
she's
what
a
it
little
was.
Latino girl. Hey, Nico is now. Oh yeah, now she's a little bi-curious. Oh yeah, we checked that box too, guys. No, we didn't need all that.
Yeah.
Nah, that rainbow shit was lost on me until last episode when someone mentioned she's glowing bright rainbow and like it blew it. I think that one.
Jonah in the head. Y'all have not shown me anything where I can't shoot Jonah
That's
in the
what
head.
I wanted the uncle friend thing to do.
Yeah, pop.
They got a gun and shoot up parents.
What's the Austin Powers thing? I got a gun in my room. Let me get that right now, Dad. Let me get this right now. We go there. They showed me nothing why you guys are afraid of him, especially since you have a magical staff that can do anything once.
But he did like wave his hand and threw the staff out though in that one episode. I think
so it's a quick draw.
Yeah. No, he did the get out of here. You think
that's a quick draw. He could do that
really?
Before she could do a spell. They doing that. Have the gangster dad shoot him in the head.
But no,
the
staff is like super techy. There's no spells. It's like really tech. It's like no
I play
spells
War of Darkness. You shoot it in the head, you cut off the head, you burn the head. That will kill anything. I know how this works.
So,
what about a werewolf?
Final thoughts.
Huh?
Final
thoughts.
Shoot in the head,
final thoughts.
cut off the head, burn the head.
And
Ghost.
moving on. Final thoughts.
No, did you want to say something, Bree?
No, you can't shoot off or do anything with a head if it's a ghost.
Yes, you can. You find the body, you shoot in the head, you burn the head.
Already dead.
You burn the whole body.
That's true. He did.
Yeah.
I guess.
Go down
Watch
the list.
Sleepy Hollow. That's what you're supposed to do.
I guess.
And Supernatural.
Yeah.
I know how this works. I survived Patrick's games except for one. So.
And he's still bitter about it.
I'm still bitter about that game. I'll be bitter when we're old men.
Okay.
No one knows what we're talking about.
Final thoughts, everyone. Marvel's Runaways.
Pick a name. Pick a name.
I'll start, and then we'll do Keem, and then we'll do Mo, and then we'll do Bree, and then we'll end with Anthony. How's that?
We'll end with Anthony. Or we won't end with Anthony.
Well, because then we can cut him off if we need to. All right.
The shade.
All right. I mean, my final thoughts are exactly what I said. Focus on the kids. I will watch probably the first 2 episodes of season 2. See if they fix the things that are wrong. See if they this is just that first season that sucks, right? And then they figured out what was wrong. And then if they don't fix it, then that's the end of that. So that's my final thoughts.
Keem?
Okay, me. Final thoughts. I hated this episode. And I've kind of listed out my reasonings why throughout the conversation. But I just felt like it was an unnecessary waste of time to take us through 9 episodes of, okay, here it goes. Like it's about to get real. And then it was just kind of more fa-la-line.
I'm not sure everybody hates this episode as much as they hate the 9 episodes or whatever that came before this episode.
I hate this episode because of the 9 episodes that came before this. I was cool with the 9 episodes because I thought that this episode was going to give me something
A
to hold
payoff.
on to and something substantial, and it didn't. So this is where they fail. Like it, because like Walking Dead, you watch all these filler episodes and you're like, oh my gosh. But then when they get usually like either the mid-season finale and the season finale, something crazy happens and you're like, damn it, I said I wasn't going to come back. But
you got me.
It's Heroes all over again. It's Heroes all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Heroes first season, they saved up their budget.
Yes. So that my
Bree?
final thought is I hate it.
Bree.
Wait, are we talking about the episode or the entire season?
I said season.
This might be
you
the
said
last
season?
Runaways episode we ever do, so you better hit it off.
I'm still pretty neutral on the episode, but it is because I hated all the other episodes. Just like Keem said, like I don't care if the next season comes up, but I'll probably watch it just because why not? But not because I love it. It's just there.
I was very meh on this episode. I thought, okay, finally they ran away, but again, that's it. That's the best thing about this episode was they ran away, and other than that, this episode was it was pretty much the same thing we gotten, except for we got like a little more action and them running away, and also we finally got Nico and Carolina kind of living their truths. Besides that, episode is 5-4 season. Anthony.
This episode just made me not care what happens after this. I think it also turned me to be like, usually I'm like, oh, this Marvel thing shouldn't be a movie. It should be a show to expand the characters. I felt like this could have just been a movie. This could have been a one-off Marvel movie because that's how much meat they gave us. It didn't need to be what they gave us. Didn't take 10 episodes, and I think Patrick has something right. Well, I love backstory for the setup. They focused too much on it with the parents. They didn't give us enough kids, and I think that's what I was missing. And then they rushed it when they went back to the kids. So yeah, I'm kind of meh. I feel like, I mean, I'll watch it if you guys watching it and talk about it just to do that. But they can't redeem the parents to me. You can't bring that back. I will never feel these parents are threatening. I'll never feel like they run stuff. I mean, even if they kill Jonah, I'll never feel they're a cohesive unit enough to do it. So the whole point of the show is pointless to me.
Bree?
That was one of the main things I hated about how they did the parents is because they're so non-threatening and because they're not villains. Eventually, I assume they're going to make it so that the kids forgive the parents, and then they're not going to be runaways anymore. So it would just be the end of the show. And like I didn't understand that.
Also, that again, like I said, it's almost like the TV show is like written by the parents from the comic, because that would be like making parents who murder runaways okay. Like, oh well, we've moved past that.
We did it for the good of the city, and we had no choice because they had us on film. And Jonah, we were all scared of his light bright powers. You
should be in jail.
Yeah.
We were in a dark place. It was a dark time for us, but we're better.
We killed these parents and tried to kill Molly, and we killed Amy, and I didn't call the paramedics. That doesn't make any sense. Why did she call the paramedics? Why she locked down the house?
So are we collectively telling Earth 2 that Season 2 comes out, we're all going to watch the first 2 episodes, and if it's not good, that's the last. We'll do maybe 2 more episodes of Runaways, and that'll be it.
I'll even give it 3. Because my general rule with TV shows is I give it 3 episodes, and if I'm not feeling it by the 3rd episode, then I don't want to waste my time on a whole season.
I made it.
Wow.
I will probably watch no matter how bad it gets, because even if it's bad, I really like the diversity, even if it's a check off. Like I need an Asian character somewhere in my life.
Oh, this is
I
like
need brown people.
You used to be in elementary school, and it'd be like the group of kids on the poster on the wall in the school, and it'd be like that one black or Asian character, and one of them was a woman too, so they could check off 2 boxes at the same time. That's what this is. And it had the box. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I just I will watch
saying
it.
It's a Captain Planet team for me, but
wow, Earth 2 This is incredible. This is
I
like,
made it all the way through Smallville, so I bet I'll make it to the end of this.
All the way through Smallville?
to the moment he wears the suit.
I mean,
you think
week by week?
I watched all 10 seasons of Smallville.
I was living in Uganda when I finished it, so it wasn't a lot to watch. But you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I was living in America and I watched all 10 seasons.
I'm probably going to watch it and then complain about it. Who am I kidding?
I guess on that, I'll watch if you guys watch, but if it was just
I
up
guess
to me,
we're all gonna watch, so we can talk about it. Wow, look at that! This is
Heroes all over again.
I feel like we're gonna watch it.
There's gonna be a battle behind a closed door. I'm calling it. They're gonna close the door and
with some lights.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see.
And then they're gonna come out and be like, they're gonna be covered in like glowy juice and be like, I can't believe Jonah's dead. And then that's gonna be it.
Covered in glowy juice.
Yes.
I feel like
I still think that was so unnecessary. Why did his boner have to glow?
Why not? I mean,
that's actually the only thing I relate to.
Think about it.
On that note, I want to thank you guys for coming.
Oh
no!
Rate us on iTunes.
No,
that's what you gotta say. Rate us on iTunes, but don't rate us based on anything that Anthony said about glowing boners. Just rate us on iTunes.
Yes, on that note, rate us on iTunes. Listen on Stitcher, Pocket Cast. We're now on Google Play, and we are also on Podbean. Thank you guys.
And iTunes.
Yes, I think we said that right. But thank you guys again for joining. Bree, Anthony, Keem. See you guys next year?
We're gonna need a new show to bring Bree in on. Bree, what other shows are you watching?
I watch almost everything.
You watch The Magicians? Because I will do The Magicians. Well,
I watch The Magicians religiously.
It's on Netflix, so I can't.
This weekend. I'm gonna binge Magicians this weekend. It seems like something I should be watching.
Yes. I would talk about The Magicians all day. It's one of the best
better
shows on South 5.
Krypton is coming, right?
I'm so happy if we all discuss The Magicians because, you know what? I don't want to ruin it for Bree and Ant, but there's going to be a theme that carries through on all these shows, and I'm excited about it.
Just inbox. Oh, inbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, message.
New season starts this week, right, Keem?
It started tonight. It's actually, it ended at 10 o'clock tonight.
She sacrificed for us.
Watch that, Keem. Why did you miss it? Why'd you miss it?
I will punch you, Ant, the next time I see you. Don't.
I'm still recovering.
So we're gonna be. So we might do The Magicians. We just have to figure out a time. We might do The Magicians and maybe same time or
can you?
Same day.
How many seasons is it?
We'll figure it out.
How many seasons is it?
This is the third season, I believe.
Is the third.
How many episodes per season?
Like 13, right?
Yeah, 13.
All right. Well, give me a week. I can probably catch up.
Wow. I got like 2 days, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're gonna come back. The same team will come back, minus maybe Patrick, because Patrick is not gonna watch The Magicians.
Well, I just don't know.
You love mages.
No. I might, but I don't want to promise anything yet. Because if we're doing Discovery and Magicians, that might be a bit much on my schedule. That's all. So I didn't want to.
When Magicians take the place of Runaways.
Runaways
happened
when all the other shows were on break.
Discovery wasn't happening.
Yes.
You remember that? You remember how on the Discovery podcast you're like, "Hey guys, thanks so much for waiting for me," but we didn't wait for you. It was just Discovery wasn't on the air.
That happened in my mind.
Again, Earth 2 from myself and from the rest of my wonderful castmates. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We will catch you guys next year for more Runaways, and we will catch you sometime in a week or two for The Magicians.